Thank you for choosing to watch the Watchman News Headlines video. Our full episodes can now be seen over at Patreon with much more added content for just $2 a month. Link is in the description. If you cannot afford $2 a month, please consider using our Amazon affiliate link, purchasing from our Teespring store, or making a PayPal donation. All links are below. In order for us to grow, we have to make changes to enable it. Our time is valuable, and we have been one of the very few news sources actually dedicated to bringing you honest, hard-hitting, actionable news and information. Plus, for your $2 a month, you do not have to hear me blabber about these links. It's a win for us all.
Bullshit.
Thank you. Good evening, watchmen and watchwomen of YouTube. So we had a little bit of a talk about what's going on in Texas and the news that came out, or at least I got it this evening, that they're going to make an attempt at securing their border using National Guard and I believe it was troopers, and they're going to make an attempt at securing their border. So just kind of makes you wonder, especially after the decision that Governor Abbott made about the mask mandates and businesses opening back up and all of that. You know, it's just interesting. So it is a discussion I think that was needed to be had. And, you know, this could really, it could be a big nothing burger, or this could spiral out of control. Either way, it's you know, it could do either way. You know, this is literally how the Civil War started, was over states' rights. And so, you know, could this be that starting up over again? And I asked some interesting questions. I will share one of them here with you because it's such an interesting question. We all know that history is written by the victor, right? So, and of course we know that the narrative is pushed that it was slavery that the Civil War was fought over, and I will debate that because in fact it was states' rights. Slavery was just one part of those states' rights, and in reality, slavery was actually one of the smaller reasons why the South went to war. A lot of it had to do with their own sovereign currencies, and you know that was the big bulk of it. Came down to sovereignties, currencies, and gold reserves, and you know that was a big part of it. So, let's see. Let me look over real quick in chat. Oh, yikes. I was looking over in the chat for Patreon. Wow. So, yeah, I'm kind of interested if this happens. Let's say we do have Civil War 2.0. And let's just say that the South loses again, you know, and the North wins. What's it going to be this time? Is it just going to be put out there as illegal immigration, that you know, that was pretty much the only reason why they went to war, was because of illegal immigration? Because sitting here now, in the now, all of us, you know, watching everything unfold, we know that it has to do with a lot more things. It's not just the immigration issue. It's also, you know, all of the power struggle over COVID-19, and just, you know, all of the stuff that the federal government is trying to do as far as controlling states and individuals and all of that. So we all see something very differently, just as the people that lived pre-Civil War, right before the Civil War, saw something much different than what your history books tell you. So something to think about, something to definitely think about. So let's see. Let me go ahead and kick over to headlines, and we'll get those out of the way. I am beat. Been a long weekend. It just seems like it's been just a long weekend. And as I was saying earlier, I think we're in for some storms. I think it's going to be a stormy spring, just because of the inflammation and all that, the pain and stuff I've had. This isn't normal for spring for me. This is a normal fall for me, not a normal spring. Normally spring things start to feel better, not worse. So I think we're going to be in for a stormy spring. So anyway, Starting with Friday's headlines, California Newsom doubles down literally on mask wearing as he says Texas made a terrible mistake in lifting mandate. YouTube banned several channels of Myanmar media citing community guidelines, says the media. AFD's Gunnar Beck, Germany was a small C conservative society until Merkel transformed it into this cultural Marxist nightmare. Aides to New York Governor Cuomo hid COVID-19 nursing home deaths from the public, media reports. You know, this is insane. This is insane. Why is this guy even walking the streets? If we were responsible for the deaths of as many people as what allegedly he is, man, we'd be hung up to dry already. Why is this dude walking the streets and able to, refuse to resign his position? This is really gone too far. In world first, apes at San Diego Zoo give an experimental COVID vaccine. Let's see. Oil prices rally after OPEC Plus leaves output cuts unchanged. Conservative views on gender roles prevail in modern Russia as survey reveals majority would prefer not to work under a woman boss. USA Today owner drops comic strip Mallard Fillmore for not meeting standards after jabs at trans female athletes. Australian national broadcaster stops airing Chinese state-run TV over human rights concerns. Let's see. Ban vaccine export, ? We can do the same, French minister says after Italy stopped AstraZeneca shipment to Australia. Let's see. Russian MP suggests ban on abortion in private clinics, restricting procedure to state-owned facilities. And, they ask the question, is it a blow to women's rights? Well, possibly. It could be, or it could be a money grab. I mean, let's be honest. It depends on, I don't know. It depends on how it was worked out. There might be more to that than the way that some would spin it. Let's see. At least one dead in Mandalay as anti-coup protests persist in Myanmar. Unbridled crisis situation. Australian PM says he understands Italy's export block on 250,000 COVID-19 vaccines. Pope arrives in Iraq to rally Christians despite pandemic. EU has no interest in Irish peace, says Northern Ireland's foreign minister, as Europe threatened legal action against UK. Journalists working in Russia for international media could be deemed foreign agents if they engage in politics, officials warn. U.S. debt on track to double by 2051, putting economy at risk of fiscal crisis, says the Congressional Budget Office. A discount retailer Fixed Price fixing to become Russia's biggest IPO in years. Anti-school shutdown group launches campaign against masks in class, dividing Brits over whether they're degrading or necessary. Iran's Revolutionary Guard thwarts hijacking attempt to fly Iran airplane across Persian Gulf, says media. Pope Francis begins historic trip to Iraq in first papal visit, if that's how you say that, I have no idea, to the Middle Eastern nation. Papal, potato head, whatever. Just don't say Mr. Potato, that's offensive. Green. What? Don't mess with my Hey, soon it's not going to be Chutes and Ladders, because somehow that's going to be offensive, and I haven't figured that out yet. I haven't figured it out, but Chutes and Ladders is going to be offensive somehow. We'll figure it out. We will figure it out. And Mr. Coffee, I'm warning you. Mr. Coffee. You're next. Greenpeace activists sneak onto airport tarmac and vandalize Air France jet, raising security concerns. Latvia It is ridiculous. I mean, ridiculous. Let's see. Latvia marginalizing native Russian speakers with restrictive policies driven by political agenda, the Council of Europe warns. Guinea's neighbors not ready for resurgent Ebola, says WHO, as risk of cross-border transmission very high in West Africa. Hey, is Black & Decker going to have to change their name? I mean, are they going to have to be... what would they become? I mean, that's kind of almost sexist and racist, right? Decker, right? Decker. So, is it going to have to be White and Caresser? Is that it's something like that? Going to have to change the name Black & Decker to... I don't know. I mean, you watch. Mr. Coffee's coming up. It's probably going to be this week. Belarus issues extradition request to Lithuania for exiled opposition figurehead, and I can't say her name, and that's not sexist, over alleged crimes against the state. Hey, it's linguist, I guess. I don't know. One mask is enough, Japanese supercomputer model shows. South Africa in talks with African Union to buy 10 million COVID vaccines after initial AstraZeneca order proves disappointing. U.S. and China moving from tariff war to technology war, economics professor tells boom bust. Australian reporters angered after advice to stop using term pedophile to refer to accused serial child molester. I don't know. Attempted genocide, Russian representative to OSCE slams Ukrainian blockade of water to Crimea as humanitarian crisis looms. Cambodians who flout COVID rules could face 20 years in prison after Parliament passes draconian law. First superfast 5G network launched in Russia. London warns Italy export ban on COVID-19 vaccine to Australia endangers global effort to fight virus. By the way, we're still on Friday's news. France calls up 4,400 officers to enforce 6 p.m. curfew in Paris amid rising COVID-19 infections and compliance concerns. Republican senator forces clerks to read Biden's COVID bill for 10 hours in last-ditch effort to block. Hong Kong activist granted bail after prosecutors drop appeal against release. A deal with Russia, as it says... let me try that again. Deal with Russia, as it is, says Estonian president, arguing in favor of greater cooperation with shared neighbor on the Baltic visit. German intelligence blocked from spying on right-wing AfD party after designation as suspected extremists. One dose of Sputnik 5 is enough for strong immune response in people previously infected with COVID-19, Argentina study claims. It's the Cuomo way. More aides described cult workplace as top New York Democrat says governor should quit if new accusers speak out. Practically impossible. Russian NGOs plead for Putin's help as new law demands they declare foreign funding sources of every donor. Duarte Harry, Philippines leader, admits faults, including extrajudicial killings, but says corruption isn't one of them. We just kill people without due process, but we're not corrupt or tyrannical. Kind of almost sounds like the Clinton family. But I didn't say that. Oh, what is that? Drone? Don't worry. Hellfires are inbound. All right, still on Friday. No-show Joe. VP Harris continues high-level talks without Biden and speaks to Israeli PM Netanyahu. Software guru John McAfee and his top cryptocurrency advisor charged with fraud and money laundering by U.S. federal prosecutors. Hang on, gotta have a vape. Lebanon's central bank chief says he's suing Bloomberg for a report claiming U.S. mulling sanctions on him over corruption. 200,000 Russians have died of COVID-19 since the start of the pandemic, state agency confirms, as caseload falls and restrictions dropped. U.S. announces sanctions on top Ukrainian oligarch and Zelensky ally, Kolomoisky. Hey, that kind of sounds like moist. For undermining democratic process in country. It's a moist country. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. It was the article and the coffee and my insanity. MSNBC's Joy Reid sparks outrage by claiming conservatives would trade tax cuts to be allowed to openly say the N-word. I saw this, and my jaw literally dropped open when I saw this. In fact, when I saw this, I said something to Jen. I read the headline to Jen, and she was floored by the headline. The European Union says member states are allowed to purchase Russian and Chinese vaccines on their own. Still on Friday. Arrest over clashes in Lyon as locals blame French police for teenager's scooter crash that left him in a coma. Let's see. An AP NORC poll says Americans largely back Biden's virus response. Pardon me. Americans more upbeat about end of COVID-19 than ever, a poll finds, but others not so sure. So why'd you take did you really need to take that poll? I mean, that's kind of like saying nothing. 20 killed in Somali capital after suicide car bomb detonates outside restaurant. The Democrats crush Bernie Sanders' push for $15 minimum wage insert into COVID relief bill despite most Americans supporting it. A Democratic congressman, Swalwell, sues Trump for emotional damage over Capitol riots, says he was ready for combat with the mob. I've got emotional damage from our government. Where's my reparations? I've got a lot of emotional damage from the government. I can actually prove that. Let's see. I don't know what Prime Minister meant. Israel's, I'll get it right, virus czar shoots down Netanyahu's suggestion that the country is through the pandemic. Let's see. Boeing 737 MAX makes emergency landing with one engine after suspected mechanical issue, airline says as FAA vows to investigate. Let's see. Trump accuses Biden of creating spiraling tsunami at U.S.-Mexico border as migrant situation spins totally out of control. Pelosi appointed general recommends establishing a permanent quick reaction troops in D.C. to protect government from the governed. Oh, the governed. The last I knew, the government was supposed to fear the people. The other thing I'd like to comment on this is I do believe that there are already quick reaction forces in D.C. Power grab. Obama said Buttigieg. That ought to be a rap song. He can't become president because everybody would make fun of his name. No, because he's gay and short. A new book on 2020 campaign reveals. And everybody would make fun of his name. Let's see. BLM backfire. U.S. public opinion shifts on George Floyd's death, law and order, as racial divide widens after summer of riots, says a poll. India threatens to jail Facebook, WhatsApp, and Twitter staff over refusal to wipe data that undermines national security, says reports. Now, hey, my opinion on this is if a sovereign nation says, I do not want you to have that data, well, then guess what? Big tech should not be able to overrule a sovereign nation. Think about that. Do you want big tech or any type of corporation. I mean, and they already do, but do you want them to be able to rule over your government? Texas high school cancels rules of chivalry day assignment after outrage over girls to be being told to obey male classmates. Still on Friday. Pentagon assessing systems after tens of thousands of servers compromised in global Microsoft hack and blamed on Chinese hackers. We're to Saturday. Woo! No new directives, period. New York lawmakers vote to strip Governor Cuomo of emergency COVID powers with veto-proof majority. California gives green light for Disneyland reopening after COVID restrictions shutter theme park for a year. Russian agricultural exports surge as trade with China grows. Tweet for $300,000. Twitter boss Jack Dorsey is selling first ever tweet, and the bids are, bids are flying in. How do you buy a tweet? I'm just curious. So, how's that happen? You buy the tweet, and after you buy the tweet, they then what? Right? Do they delete the tweet and give you a printout? Is that how that works? This doesn't make any sense to me. Probably should read the article, then maybe it would make some sense to me, but it probably won't. At least hold the pictures up. House GOP leader receives poor reviews for Dr. Seuss reading amid censorship controversy. Pakistan's Imran Khan remains in power after surviving voluntary vote of no confidence. A gay Russian priest who fled to Holland after coming out accuses church of bullying and claims clergy sleep together to boost career. He's probably right. Organic building block for life found on asteroid surface for the first time. Is it more intelligent life than here? Because if so, then take me to that asteroid. Russia and China's partnership not only about containing American aggression, it's also vital for creation of multipolar world order. Venezuela to issue $1 million Bolivar bill, but it's only worth 50 cents amid raging hyperinflation. Isn't that crazy? Having a $1 million Bolivar bill, I mean, think of it as a $1 million bill. That's really only worth 50 cents. That's crazy. A blind trust in social media perpetuates and resurrects conspiracy theories, says new study. Okay. EU to seek AstraZeneca doses from U.S. amid COVID-19 vaccine supply shortfalls, says the media. I'm not a killer. Slovakia's PM says he won't give up on quality Sputnik 5 vaccine only because it's made in Russia. Still on Saturday, by the way. Oh, no. Take me back there. Rage bait backlash continues after Journal of American Medical Association tweets that no physician is a racist. Musk loses $27 billion in days as high-flying tech stocks take a beating. ICE to allow detainees to appeal arrest if they feel their detention does not align with Biden's immigration policy. Saudi Arabia to lift most COVID-19 restrictions on Sunday, says state media. Tough night shift. Senate passes an amendment to COVID bill just to vote on an almost identical one later. COVID vaccine-induced swelling can lead to false cancer diagnosis, doctors warn. Air Asia's flying taxis set to buzz through the skies in 2022, says a CEO. China sets goal of sending 12 astronauts to space by 2023, opening of space station by 2022. A massive fire consumes Iran-Afghanistan border post. Venezuelan President Maduro gets first shot of Russian Sputnik 5 vaccine. Scientists unveil new rapid 3D organ printing method, which is 10 to 50 times faster than the current techniques. Senate passes $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill after a marathon session. Health workers angry after pandemic and government deserves strike for offering 1% pay raise, says a British nurse. Biden says first stimulus checks will be mailed this month after Senate passes bumper virus bill. South Korean government investigates 7 deaths that followed COVID-19 vaccination with AstraZeneca's jab. Cartoon skunk Pepe Le Pew contributed to rape culture, says New York Times columnist. Pepe Le Pew. I'm telling you, Mr. Coffee's next. It's just going to be coffee. They're going to have to... Coffee. Can't be Mr., can't be Mrs. It's going to have to say coffee on it. And then that's going to be offensive to tea drinkers. I don't know. It's so crazy. It's ridiculous. I will not suffocate. I'm already there. Idaho demonstrators burn masks at state capitol. I mean, hey, I've got the best idea for this whole COVID thing, and I'm ready to try it. You know, we could just take a plastic bag and tie it real tightly around our heads. I guarantee you we will not be affected by COVID-19. And we will also be able to get away from all this damned insanity that's taking over this country. I'll continue with the headlines, though. 3 Alabama professors suspended amid probe into their racially insensitive, here we go again, 2014 Halloween costumes with a noose and a whip. Now, that would probably be a little bit much, but it gets old. This whole nobody can breathe without it being wrong somehow. Got some from last night here. Biden showers money on Americans. WAPO mocked for dear leader vibes in COVID stimulus story. And hey, we're to this morning's news, or the news I started putting out this morning. 2 more former aides accuse New York Governor Andrew Cuomo of sexual misconduct. What's that make it? Like 1 million now? Destination unknown. Qantas offers mystery flights for travel-hungry tourists amid border closures. Kurds must go, and I know I screwed that up. Australians lash out at government as thousands of anti-lockdown demonstrators march through Vienna. China's exports surge at record pace from coronavirus-battered levels. Disbelief as Brexiteer Nigel Farage claims he's leaving politics again after achieving life's work. China's foreign minister hails joint effort by Beijing and Moscow to fight political virus and ensure global stability. Fraternity hazing victims' organs are being donated after extreme incident at Ohio University. Scientists image newborns' lungs as they take their first breaths. That's a pretty cool scientific development. Democrats turn on Arizona Senator Sinema, if that's how you say her name, after her office frames criticism of her vote against $15 an hour minimum wage as sexist. Lion burns for 3rd night in a row as unrest and violence continues. Mumford and Sons banjo player deemed a Nazi shitbag, hey, that's what it says, for praising book condemning Antifa. So that's all you have to do is condemn Antifa, and you are a horrible person. Who'da thunk it? Luxury car I'll try it again. Aston Martin to start making electric models in UK amid shift away from traditional vehicles, says the media. Global food prices continue to rise with poorest countries hit hardest, and we're going to see the same here. Government demands sacrifice, hence I sacrifice on behalf of farmers. 50-year-old man dies by hanging near Indian protest camp. Austria halts injections of AstraZeneca COVID vaccine batch as authorities probe death. Let's see. We turned essential services into a casino energy market, expert tells Max Kaiser after Texas power grid failure. U.S. will strike at a time and place of our choosing after rocket attacks on bases in Iraq, Defense Secretary Austin says. Swiss voters support burqa ban that outlaws wearing of facial coverings in public places. New York Times falsely claims last year's BLM violence was misinformation. So, remember what I said about the victors being the ones to write history? I'm not saying New York Times is a victor here, but follow me on this, right? Could you imagine if the history books, say 20 years from now, says that all that stuff that happened in Portland and all of that it didn't happen. It was misinformation. That the fact checkers had fact checked it and found it to be false information. Could you imagine? I mean, because I kind of think that that's what we're going to find. That's what's going to happen. It's crazy. We're actually living in those times. Scores reportedly injured after multiple explosions level military base in capital city of Equatorial Guinea. Scandal over face mask business deals forces German MP from Angela Merkel's party to quit. Ex-Republican Senate candidate Witzke banned from Twitter after calling trans activists demonic. Used and betrayed, pro-life Biden backers say he broke promise to hear them and ramrodded the COVID bill with taxpayer-funded abortion. New York State legislative leaders say Cuomo must resign after embattled governor brands such demands anti-democratic. A conservative snicker as Urban Dictionary censors the term Blue Anon, the hot new label for left-wing conspiracy theorists. South Korea agrees to meaningful increase in payouts for the privilege of hosting 28,500 U.S. troops. Texas launches Operation Lone Star, sending National Guard and state troopers to secure border after Biden opened the floodgates. And we do have a one up there. Let's see. Concerns about how dark his skin might be. Meghan drops racism bombshell on why UK royals didn't want her son to be prince. Absolute insanity. Well, on that note, I am getting out of here. I will see you all tomorrow evening, God willing. It's getting crazy. It's getting really, really crazy. So, hang in there the best you can. So, see you tomorrow. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.